There was once a boy who lived in a small village at the edge of a wide, dry land. The houses in the village were made of clay and wood. The people were poor. They worked hard every day in the fields, but the harvest was often small. The boy's family did not have much. They had only a small hut, a few old tools, and a piece of land that was difficult to farm. Many nights the boy went to sleep hungry, but his eyes were always full of light. He was curious about everything. He wanted to know how things worked. He asked questions about the wind, the stars, and the machines he sometimes saw in the town far away. Even when life was hard, the boy's heart was hopeful. He believed that his future could be different. He did not know how, but deep inside, he felt that he could build his own destiny. Other children laughed at him because of his dreams. They said, "You are too poor. You will stay like us." But the boy kept his dreams alive. He told himself again and again, "I will not give up. My story will not end here." The boy's name was Amir. Amir woke up early every morning when the sun touched the sky with golden light. He helped his father in the field, pulling weeds and carrying heavy water jars. His hands were small, but they worked like the hands of a grown man. He knew that if he did not help, his family would not survive. His mother often said, "Amir, you are strong. But remember, strength is not only in the body. Strength is also in the mind." Amir listened carefully. He wanted to make his mind strong. But he had no books, no pens, no teacher. Still, he found ways to learn. He watched the people in the market. He studied how traders counted money. He listened to old men tell stories about kings and inventors. Every detail stayed in his mind. Even when he was tired, he repeated words and numbers to himself. He practiced in silence. Life was not easy, but Amir never stopped learning. He was poor in things, but rich in hope. At night, when the sky was full of stars, Amir would lie outside on the ground. The air was cool and the world seemed quiet. He would look up and imagine a bigger life. He would whisper, "One day, I will change my life. One day, I will make something new." These thoughts gave him comfort. Sometimes his stomach hurt from hunger, but his dream made him strong. He believed that dreams were like seeds. If he cared for them, they would grow. His mother noticed his quiet nights. She asked, "Amir, why do you stare at the sky so much?" He answered softly, "Because I am searching for my future." His mother smiled sadly. She wanted to believe him, but she knew how hard life was. Many people in the village had dreams, but most of them gave up. Amir did not want to give up. He told himself that his dream was not just a dream. It was a plan, waiting to be built. Every day brought new struggles. Amir's shoes were torn, and his clothes were old. When he walked to the town, children pointed at him and laughed. "Look at his rags," they shouted. Sometimes Amir felt ashamed, but then he remembered his dream. He told himself, "Clothes are not important. What is inside me is important." When people laughed, he stayed silent. When people doubted him, he worked harder. But deep inside, the doubt sometimes touched his heart. He wondered, "Am I foolish to dream? Will I ever escape this life?" These questions made him sad, but he never let sadness stay too long. He would breathe deeply and whisper, "I will not stop. My destiny is waiting." Even when the world told him no, his heart told him yes. One evening, Amir visited the town market. There, on a table, he saw something that changed his life, an old, torn book. The cover was faded, and some pages were missing, but Amir felt his heart beat fast. He picked it up carefully. The seller laughed and said, "That book is useless. No one wants it. You can take it for 1 coin. Amir gave the man his only coin. He held the book like treasure. When he opened it, he saw drawings of machines and words about energy, light, and invention. He could not understand everything, but he understood enough. The book spoke of people who created new things with their own hands and minds. Amir whispered, "This is what I want to do. I want to create. I want to build." That night, under the stars, Amir began to read again and again. The words were hard, but he repeated them until they became clear. For the first time, he felt a fire inside his soul. His dream had found a shape. The book became Amir's best friend. He carried it everywhere, even when he went to fetch water or help in the fields. The pages were old and sometimes hard to read, but Amir did not mind. He touched the words as if they were gold. He repeated them aloud until he remembered them. When he could not understand, he asked older people in the town. Some ignored him. Some laughed and said, "Why do you waste your time with books? You are just a poor boy. You will never be an inventor." Their words were sharp, like knives, but Amir refused to bleed. He told himself, "They do not know my heart. They do not know my dream." Slowly, he began to copy the pictures from the book onto scraps of paper. He drew wheels, pulleys, and strange machines. He imagined how they might move. Sometimes his drawings made no sense, but they made him happy. At night, when everyone slept, Amir used a candle to read and draw. His eyes hurt, his fingers burned from wax, but he kept going. The book gave him courage. It whispered to him, "You can build your destiny, step by step." Amir soon discovered a problem. Reading about machines was exciting, but he had no tools, no wood, no metal. His family was too poor to buy materials. For a moment, Amir felt hopeless. "How can I build anything without tools?" he thought. But then he remembered his mother's words, "Strength is in the mind." Amir decided to use whatever he could find. He searched the village for broken things. He collected old wheels from carts, pieces of wire, and even empty cans. Other children laughed again. "Why do you carry trash?" they asked. Amir smiled and answered, "Because one day this trash will become treasure." In secret, he built small models behind his house. A wheel that turned with the wind. A small box that made noise when he hit it with a stick. They were simple, almost useless, but to Amir they were signs of hope. Each small model was proof that he could create. Each success gave him strength. He whispered, "If I can make small things, one day I will make big things." Still, life was not easy. Many days Amir felt tired and weak. The fields demanded work. His father needed help. Hunger was always near. Sometimes Amir wanted to stop reading, stop building, and just rest. But whenever he thought of quitting, he remembered the inventors from his book. They had also suffered. They had also faced doubt and failure. Yet they kept moving forward. Amir wanted to be like them. One night, he looked at the stars and made a promise. "I will not give up," he said aloud. "Even if the road is long. Even if people laugh. Even if I fall again and again. I will rise. I will fight for my dream." His words were strong, and they filled him with new energy. The next morning, he worked harder in the field. After work, he ran to his little corner to study and build. He learned patience. He learned that success comes slowly. Every mistake was not the end, but a lesson. Every failure was not defeat, but a step forward. And so, Amir began to walk the first steps toward his destiny. One afternoon, Amir tried to build a small windmill. He had seen a picture of one in his book. The picture showed tall blades turning in the wind to make energy. Amir did not understand everything about energy, but he understood the turning blades. He thought, "If I can make a small windmill, I can prove to myself that I can create something real." He worked with wood from broken carts and pieces of cloth for the blades. For hours he tied, cut, and fixed the pieces together. Finally, he lifted it up in the open field. The wind blew, and for a moment the blades moved. Amir's heart jumped with joy. But then the windmill broke apart and fell to the ground. The wood snapped, and the cloth tore. Amir felt pain in his chest. His first real invention had failed. For a long time he just sat and stared at the broken pieces. Voices in his head whispered, "You are too poor. You are too small. You will never succeed." Amir almost believed them. But then he remembered the fire in his heart, the fire that no one could see. Slowly, he stood up, picked up the broken pieces, and said softly, "This is not the end. This is the beginning." After that failure, Amir became even more determined. He understood something important: failure was not his enemy. Failure was his teacher. He decided to learn from it. He asked himself, why did the windmill break? He checked the wood. It was too weak. He checked the cloth. It was too thin. He thought about the design. It was too simple. Amir smiled. "Now I know what to do better next time." From then on, whenever something failed, he wrote a note in his book. He kept a list of mistakes and lessons. Day by day, his list grew. Sometimes the list made him laugh because it was so long. But he also felt proud. Each line showed progress. Each line showed that he was trying. Other boys in the village spent their time playing or complaining. Amir spent his time learning. Even when his hands were full of cuts and his clothes smelled of smoke from failed experiments, his heart was full of hope. He told himself again and again, every mistake is a step forward. Every failure brings me closer to my dream. News about Amir began to spread in the village. Some people said, "That boy is strange. He plays with junk." Others said, "Maybe he is wasting his life." But a few people were curious. They came to see what Amir was doing. When they saw his broken machines and half-made models, they laughed. "This is nothing," they said. "A real machine is big and useful. Your toys are useless." Their laughter hurt Amir, but he tried not to show it. He only smiled and answered, "Every big thing starts small." Sometimes, when he was alone, their words returned to him and made him feel heavy. Doubt pressed on his shoulders like a stone. But then he opened his book again. He read about inventors who were laughed at before they became famous. He whispered, "If they did not give up, I will not give up." Slowly, Amir's heart became stronger. He learned an important truth: the world will not always believe in your dream, but if you believe, that is enough to keep going. Amir decided to change his daily routine. He realized that if he wanted to reach his dream, he needed discipline. So he made a plan. Every morning, before working in the fields, he would spend 30 minutes reading his book. Even if he understood only one new word, he called it progress. After the day's work, when the other children played, Amir practiced building small models. At night, before sleeping, he wrote short notes about what he learned. Sometimes his eyes closed from tiredness, but he forced himself to write at least one sentence. "I must keep moving forward," he told himself. His mother noticed his new habits. She worried about his health, but she also admired his determination. She whispered to his father, "Our son is different. He is chasing something big." His father shook his head and said, "Dreams do not feed a family." But Amir kept going. He believed that discipline was food for his dream. At first, Amir's progress was very slow. His models often broke. His writing was messy. His reading was full of mistakes. But every day he improved a little. He learned to sharpen sticks into smooth rods. He learned to tie cloth in stronger knots. He learned to read words without stopping every few seconds. These small victories filled him with joy. He clapped his hands and shouted to himself, "I can do it. I can really do it." Even when the machines failed, his confidence grew. He understood now that growth was like planting seeds. A seed does not grow into a tree in one day. It takes time, water, and care. In the same way, his dream needed patience. Amir repeated this thought whenever he felt weak. Step by step, day by day, I will build my destiny. The more he repeated it, the stronger he felt. Soon, Amir began to see results. His small windmill model worked for a few minutes before breaking. His tiny cart with wooden wheels rolled a short distance. These may have looked like toys to others, but to Amir, they were signs of victory. Each working moment was like a light shining in his heart. He showed them to his younger sister, who clapped her hands in excitement. "Brother, you are making magic," she cried. Amir smiled and said, "It is not magic. It is learning." Her innocent faith gave him strength. He realized that even if adults laughed, children believed. And that was enough to keep him going. Amir also began teaching his sister simple things he learned from the book. Explaining ideas to her made him understand them better himself. Slowly, without even knowing it, Amir was not only learning, he was also becoming a teacher. One evening, after finishing work in the fields, Amir sat outside with his broken models around him. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and red. He looked at the pieces of wood, cloth, and wire. Instead of feeling sad, he felt proud. These pieces are proof of my effort, he thought. They show that I am trying. They show that I am alive. For the first time, he felt a deep peace inside. He no longer compared himself to the rich children in town. He no longer cried because of the laughter of others. He understood that his journey was different, and that was fine. He whispered to himself, "My dream is like this sunset. It will rise again tomorrow. It will shine brighter each day." From that moment, Amir carried his failures not as wounds, but as badges of honor. He was no longer just a poor boy with dreams. He was a dreamer with discipline, and discipline was turning him into a builder of destiny. As Amir grew older, the pressure from others grew heavier too. People in the village started saying louder things about him. Some men shook their heads and said, "He is wasting his time with broken toys." Others whispered, "He should stop dreaming and help his father more. Dreams do not fill an empty stomach." Amir heard their words, and each one cut him deeply. Sometimes, when he carried water or pulled weeds in the hot sun, he wondered if they were right. "Maybe I should give up," he thought. "Maybe my dream is too big for someone like me." But then he looked at his little sister's smile, or he touched the pages of his book, and his heart became stronger again. He whispered to himself, "They do not see what I see. They do not feel what I feel. My dream is real. My destiny is mine to build." Even when doubt walked beside him, Amir refused to let it rule his steps. There were days when Amir felt truly alone. His friends played in the fields, laughing and shouting, while he sat with wires and wood in his hands. They called him strange. They teased him, saying, "You are not like us. You are lost in your dreams." Their laughter sometimes made him want to cry. But Amir had learned something important, to walk a lonely road if necessary. He remembered the stories in his book about inventors and leaders. Many of them were mocked before they were respected. Amir told himself, "If they could walk alone, I can walk alone too." Still, the silence of loneliness was heavy. At night, he would sit under the stars and talk to the sky. "Please, give me strength," he whispered. And the stars, shining brightly above, seemed to whisper back, "Keep going. Do not stop." These quiet nights gave him courage. One morning, after many failures, Amir felt like throwing away his book. He thought, "What is the point? I will never succeed. I am only a poor boy." His heart felt heavy, and tears filled his eyes. He was about to give up when his mother walked into the room. She saw the tears and sat beside him. She held his hand gently and said, "Amir, listen to me. The world will try to break your spirit, but you must not let it. You are different. You are stronger than you know. If you keep believing, one day your dream will become real." Her words were like medicine to his tired heart. Amir wiped his tears and smiled weakly. He hugged his mother and whispered, "Thank you. I will keep trying." That moment reminded him that even when the world doubted him, love could still give him strength. Amir decided to change his thinking. Instead of worrying about what people said, he focused only on his progress. He made a promise to himself, "I will not measure my worth by their laughter. I will measure it by my effort." With this new mindset, he worked harder than ever. Every failure became a lesson. Every small success became a celebration. Slowly, his machine started to last longer. His windmill turned for a whole hour before breaking. His cart carried small stones without falling apart. His sister cheered, and even a few curious neighbors started to watch quietly. They still doubted him, but now they also wondered. Amir felt something new inside him, confidence. It was small, but it was growing like a seed in rich soil. He knew he was getting closer to something important, something that could change everything. One windy afternoon, Amir carried his newest windmill to a small hill outside the village. He had worked on it for weeks, using stronger wood, better cloth, and careful knots. His hands shook as he placed it into the ground. The wind began to blow, gentle at first and then stronger. Slowly, the blades turned. Amir held his breath. The windmill did not break. It turned faster and faster, and then, something amazing happened. Amir had attached a small piece of metal to the wheel. As it spun, sparks of light appeared. The children who followed him gasped. "Look! Light," they shouted. Amir's heart exploded with joy. He had done it. For the first time, he had created something that worked, something that gave light. It was small, only a spark, but to Amir it was the proof he needed. He looked at the turning blades and whispered, "This is only the beginning." His breakthrough had finally arrived. The news of Amir's windmill spread quickly through the village. Children ran home shouting, "Amir made the wind turn into light." At first, the adults did not believe them. They thought it was only a trick. But when they came to see with their own eyes, they were surprised. The small sparks were real. The machine was real. Amir stood beside his windmill, nervous but proud. The villagers asked, "How did you do this?" Amir held up his old torn book and said, "I learned from here, and I practiced with what I had." Some people nodded slowly, impressed. Others still laughed, saying, "It is only a toy. It cannot help us." Amir did not argue. He just smiled. In his heart, he knew that small sparks could grow into great fires. He whispered to himself, "This is proof. This is the first step. My dream is possible." That night, Amir could hardly sleep. He lay on his mat, staring at the ceiling of the hut. His heart beat fast with excitement. For years he had worked in silence, laughed at, doubted, and ignored. But now, for the first time, people had seen something real. He replayed the moment in his mind, the wind blowing, the blades turning, the sparks of light. It felt like magic, but he knew it was not magic. It was hard work, patience, and faith. Amir smiled in the dark and whispered, "I can do more. I will do more." He felt a new energy inside him, stronger than before. Failure no longer scared him. Doubt no longer chained him. He finally believed, with all his heart, that he could build his own destiny. The next day, Amir returned to the hill to test his windmill again. This time, more children followed, and even a few adults stood at a distance. The wind blew, and once again, sparks of light appeared. The children clapped and shouted with joy. The adults looked at each other in silence. Some still doubted, but others began to respect Amir's effort. A man said, "Maybe this boy is not foolish after all." Amir heard him, and his chest filled with pride. He wanted to build something bigger, something that could truly help the village. He thought, if I can make sparks, maybe one day I can make light strong enough to brighten homes. The dream that once lived only in his imagination now felt close, almost within reach. His small success had opened a big door in his mind. Amir's confidence grew, but so did the challenges. More people came to watch him work. Some gave advice, others gave criticism. A few even tried to copy his windmill. At first, Amir felt angry. They laughed at me before, and now they want to steal my ideas, he thought. But then he remembered his book. It said that ideas are like seeds, and seeds must be shared to grow. So Amir decided not to fight but to inspire. He told the children who copied him, yes, build your own. Learn with me. His kindness surprised everyone. Instead of keeping knowledge for himself, Amir began to explain what he learned. Teaching others made him stronger. He realized that his destiny was not only about building machines. It was also about building hope in others. Little by little, Amir's windmill became a symbol in the village. Children spoke of him with excitement. Adults, who once doubted him, began to show respect. They said, maybe this boy has a gift. Maybe his dream is real. Amir felt proud, but he also stayed humble. He told himself, this is only the beginning. I must work harder. I must dream bigger. He started collecting more scraps of wood, metal, and cloth. He dreamed of building a larger windmill, one strong enough to give real light. His sister looked at him with shining eyes and said, "Brother, you are making the future." Amir hugged her and whispered, "No, we are making the future, together." For the first time, Amir was not just a poor boy with a strange dream. He was a builder, a teacher, and a symbol of hope. His destiny was no longer far away, it was slowly becoming real. As weeks passed, Amir's dream grew bigger than himself. The children in the village began to gather around him every evening. They no longer laughed at his strange machines. Instead, they waited to see what new idea he would try. Amir showed them how to tie sticks together, how to shape wheels, and how to use the wind to turn blades. The children's eyes shone with excitement. "Teach us more," they begged. Amir realized something important, his dream was no longer only his. It was now a light that others wanted to follow. Even adults started coming quietly to watch. Some brought him small gifts, an old hammer, a broken pot, or a piece of wire. They said, "Maybe this will help you." Amir accepted each piece with gratitude. What once was trash now became tools for his creations. He felt proud, not only because he was building machines, but also because he was building courage in others. The respect Amir gained changed his life. People who once called him foolish now greeted him with kind words. Children who once teased him now carried scraps to his hut, hoping to see him turn them into something new. Even his father, who once said dreams do not feed a family, looked at him with softer eyes. One evening his father told him, "Amir, I was wrong. You are doing something special. You are showing us a new way." Amir's heart swelled with emotion. All the years of hunger, pain, and loneliness suddenly felt worth it. He understood that destiny is not a gift given by others. Destiny is built by faith, work, and patience. His little windmill had become more than a machine. It was a symbol of what was possible when someone refused to give up.